most we've ever done is 5.
In one day?
And it gets pretty hectic.
I bet.
Smell people working on here.
Not right now. They'll be back at 1.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on down here. So we don't have a car in station 1 right now. I'll explain to you what happens. So we get the car, the body, like I said, from Lansing Grand River. What we do is we have the swing metal on it. So it includes the doors, the fender, the trunk. We pull all of those off and put them in storage. We match them to the car later so they'll come back to the same car. And then we'll put the tape on them to protect them so they don't get scratched or abraded in the fabrication shop. And then we spend a day in this station right here. What we're doing is we're taking off things that aren't needed on the car. Taking off all the studs for console mount. We make some significant cuts on the car to put in the roll cage and the lower suspension. And some other things I'll show you on this car right here. Just take a photo. So we spend a day in that station. Everything that's done on the car, none of it's eyeballed or guesswork. There's a fixture or a jig for everything we do. We have the data points for the car, so all the pilot holes are drilled, all the parts are scribed, we do the cuts, so we get nothing done to quite on that side. So exactly.
So this right here is the rear subframe?
This is the for the 4-link suspension. Yeah.
I got it all down. You don't need to.
So one of the things we do, like I said, we build the car 15 days door to door. If you went to a race shop, this is a touchdown point for the roll cage. You can see it's already pre-bent, it's already pre-cut. If you're going to have it done at a race shop, they would go and measure the location. They would cut a piece, they would go set it down, they'd cut it again, and then the third time they'd probably fill in with some weld because they cut it too much and didn't want to make another one. We know that this one piece fits all 69 cars. That allows those guys to put it in, weld it, and move on to the next station. To be able to move as quick as possible.
See all this hard bar mounts,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. Yeah.
So you're asking about this. So this jig right here, this is for the suspension to be put into the rear of the car. What we do is we have the datum points. These pins will pin to the underside of the car, and then we lock it into place, and we do the welding to put the lower control arm in the car. What this does is that way you have a true car and runs straight every time because we know it's locked into the car. We don't have to do any additional measurements. Again, it's a sort of repeatable operation that we'll do it time and time again. So that's going to happen in this car. He's getting ready to put the lower control arm in this car. So look in the back right here. He's put the first touchdown points in for the rear of the cage. Now the production Camaro is an independent rear suspension, so it does not have any issues there. But this car with a solid rear axle, it's made to squat to be able to transfer the weight. The rear differential will hit this area right here. We cut this out, and I'll show you in the car in a little while. With a low weight aluminum piece we put right on the top. Close that out. You can also look up in here. Zoom out a little bit. The production Camaro, the rear suspension has a slipper shock in the coil. Our car has a coil with a shock based on strength. So we cut some parts out here, and I'll show you in a little while what we added into the car to be able to have its own unique shock mount. Also, there's an extrusion right here. We cut out of the car. This 9-inch slick that we put on the car will not fit in that area. We're taking that, we're taking this down. This will all be painted, and it's going to be covered by the lower rocker.
Glenn, just saying, you want to save that battery for the end when you get to your car. You're going to run out of battery to film all this.
I got it.
I
Yeah.
got all this.
Yeah.
See the where it's cut out over here, the
Yeah.
slicks.
Yep.
This notched in here. Back there goes that piece that he just showed us before goes up in there.
So right here.
You can go right here. Yeah, I'll go around that side.
Okay, good deal. Okay, so your car is certified by NHRA to 8.5 seconds. We do know that people are trying to go faster. We have several people that are in the 820s, 810s, Barton, those guys. One of the enablers to do that, you have to have a 25.5 funny car cage certified down to 7.5 seconds. Okay?
Right.
One of the things for that, you have to put in a number 1 bar. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's on that fixture. It's that large bar over there.
Actually, get a good picture of you.
But to put that in, you actually, if you didn't have it in now, you pretty much have to take the car down to this level to be able to put it in. So we go ahead and put it in now. It's an enabler later for people that are going faster. Plus, it's a nice place that we can put additional stiffening in the suspension that I'll show you when we get underneath the production.
So this is made that if you wanted to put in a 7.5 second cage.
That's an enabler for the 7.5
make
cage.
the process easier.
Correct.
Instead of having to recut out this.
Yes.
part.
And you can see inside here where we've taken the pieces out. This is where studs would be for the console, things like that.
Right. So these are all the Hot Wheels cars.
The orange cars are all Hot Wheels.
This is not the orange that was at SEMA.
It is not.
The orange at SEMA camp was
Yes.
Danny's 16 Z06.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't the same.
Yeah, that had 17 coaches here. Actually, it was just here until yesterday.
Really?
We had it here for somebody had scratched the paint and had to be
I see that
repaired.
they actually get a good picture on this side. They did a new throttle stop plate or something there. You've got it brushed out here for the roll bar to go in the front there.
Production car is a throttle by wire.
Throttle, okay, so they do a manual, so they put in for the gauge there. This extra brace here, Kurt, on the floor where the seat is, that's
So that's going to be where,
plate.
yep, that's going to be where the lower control arm is going to be welded in.
I
We'll
see,
see
so
it in a
brace
little
there.
while. And they're actually going to put the seat mounts on here too.
Okay.
There's that touchdown point I showed you for the cage, the one
Right.
that had the curve in it with the bend.
Yeah.
So you can
that-
see it
that
welded
plate
in
goes
there.
in there. See that extra plate that he showed us on the bench? They weld that in there for the roll bar.
Yep.
Anything up in the engine compartment?
Yeah, let's go up there.
Let's go take a look up there.
So this car, we moved the engine about 4 inches back in the car. That's really for the weight transfer.
4 inches back.
About 4 inches back. Really what that does, that's that weight transfer to get the front end off the ground on your launch. Because of that, you couldn't get a wrench on the back end of the transmission to be able to get to the bolts on the top of the transmission. So what we've done, and you can see the diagram, we put it on there before we scribed, we've cut these little notches out. You can really see the sandwiched aluminum of the Camaro now. You can see 3 layers of sandwiched aluminum all put in together there. I'm showing you this right now. I'm going to show you again in a minute to show you the pocket that we weld in its place. And then I'm going to show it to you again after we paint it. Again, you wouldn't have known that we did it here, that it didn't come that way in the first place.
Did we change the bumper?
Yes.
This was replaced on the Z06 when it was wet.
Well, the reason we changed these, so this is a V6 body. Okay, that's what we use as a V6
They buy the cheap bodies.
It's actually designed, wanted the V6, but the original COPO was based on a base car. So we take the base car, which is the V6, the 4-cylinder. But this hole right here, it goes all the way through, and it's slightly at an angle. So we would have to make a fixture to be able to drill that and weld these in. It was just easier to unbolt it and put the V8 part in it, because we use the V8 engine crate. So that's why we put that in there. Instead of trying to redo this one, we just put the other one. And then the old part goes in that bin right over there and becomes part of the pizza club.
That's right. Amazing.
This is part fascinating. I love the engineering side of this.
So the other thing will come with your car. So these are the build documents. Everything that's been done to the car is initialed and dated by the person that did it. These are all the cuts. There'll be additional sheets for everything that's installed in the car, everything that's torqued down. These originals will
If
make.
something falls off, we know who the guy was coming look for CM over.
Well, it's funny because I'll tell you why when we get to talk about the license plates and everything later.
I got some.
So we'll make copies of these, but you're going to have the originals. So if there's smudge, if there's dirt, if there's blood,
You get it.
You get the original provenance of the car.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Exactly. So let's.
Okay, so this is stage two. Stage one.
Yep. Well, right over there. We're going to take everything off. While we start cutting stuff off. Got that, Max?
Yep,
Car comes in the door right here.
right there. Stage 2.
Cool. This is stage 3. First stage 3. I don't know exactly. Whatever. Bluetooth, baby. This is.
Yeah, no wires.
This is
Yeah.
Now we're putting the cage in.
Haven't seen that before.
So this car right here, I can show you what we did in that station plus
Okay.
the cage.
Okay.
So in that station,
Yeah.
he's put in the cover, that low weight cover that I was telling you about. You can also look in the wheel well, and you can see the closeout that we put in and the new shock pocket.
Pam, look at the cage back here. She's always important about the cage. She says you need one in the
So if you look at that's that new shock pocket, and this is the closeout where we cut that piece out. Again, all this is going to be painted.
See that jig, that piece you saw
Yep.
on the back there, on the jig, Pam, that got welded up in there for the new 4-link suspension. That piece is back there. And then,
So then you come over here. So you were asking about this piece here. Yeah. See, this is the lower control arm of the 4-link suspension. The upper is on that main bar right over there in the back. See that bar back there? Oh, right. And this is that nut that I was talking about that goes all the way across. We had that big cutout. Right, we had that big cutout. So that's where the hood over in the car.
see that issue, I just didn't want Reliable to come up and take this thing out. This is the part that I like.
And I'm glad people come up, you know, it's really a lot more
Because
fun.
we're real car people. We're not just,
So now, he's welded in these
Yeah.
closeouts. And that's for your transmission.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Pam, they put, where they cut those other pieces out where the
Right.
We
fit
welded
back
those
4
pockets in
inches.
now.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
put the pockets in there.
So when this is, at this stage here, what'll happen is NHRA will come in. They're gonna inspect those welds,
Yeah.
and they're gonna do an x-ray of the thickness of the bars to make sure they're good.
These are chromoly bars.
Chromoly bars, no car leaves the factory unless NHRA's inspected and approved it. You can take the car today and take it to a track this afternoon. And because it is race ready when it leaves, I've had people send me time slips the same day they pick them up.
If you know how to drive,
If you know how to drive.
then I'm not sure.
Yeah.
School.
You're not moving it very far, are you?
No.
It's not moving much. Is it? If anything moves, it's gonna be the whole car on this chassis.
Pam, they even close up these, the radio speakers.
Yeah. The
give
reason
it
why
more
it
rigidity.
has to be closed out.
Oh, that's
You
right.
cannot have any access at all to where the fuel.
The fuel cell, that's right, so that there's a fire or the tank in the back.
In fact, that last hole right there will be closed out before we're done.
So you'll see the fuel cell later.
Yeah,
on the other cars.
we'll put the fuel cell in the next station.
What do you think about it? Is it cool?
So what happens next is the fabrication shop manager, he will sign off on the car. Once that's done, they're gonna take the tape off, and they're gonna move the car right across the street here in the industrial park where they're gonna do the paint. And again, they're gonna paint the engine compartment, the roll cage, all the shiny stuff inside, the trunk, and the underside of the car.
So the case are gonna get painted black.
Yes.
Is the inside black too on the floor, or no?
Just where it's shiny.
Just where it's shiny. And so they gotta remask a lot of stuff so they don't get overspray.
Yeah, it's not a quick operation.
Yeah. So a lot of problems. So what it sounded like is $100,000 is a pretty good bargain for my opinion.
Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll start heading over to General Assembly. Right.
What's going on with these? What these are the orange is gone on the inside.
2019 seconds, if you can call me back so we can discuss, I would appreciate it.
That's all. That's all. Yeah. These are black. This is a black car. I thought this was another orange car. I'm going, how come they stripped all thing? But it's black. But see that's all shaded over the. Right. They look orange.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought of that. It looks like it's open on this car.
How come these are two-tone? I did not get that option.
Right.
For the two-tone.
I think that's actually red tape, but it definitely looks orange.
It does look. I mean, against the orange car, it's hard to see the difference. Because that one is a red car there.
That's a red car, yeah.
There were 6 colors. So you're going to make all the
No, we buy it from American Racing. not a big facility, we don't have enough room for 69 sets of the big parts, so there's a lot of trucks coming and going here all the time. But this is some of the small attention to detail like this right here. So in addition to like the fenders and stuff like that, so we take off a number to the car, like these are the gas cap doors, because we know that orange on Monday may not be the same as orange on Friday. And
You got
these,
the VIN, you got the build number.
well, these are
42
actually, like 43, this is the chassis number,
chassis number.
not the serial number. Because what happens is, we had to pre-order like 30 of the bodies before I ever contacted a customer to buy one. And since serial numbers weren't assigned, they had to put a chassis number on it, how they could track it. But what we do is we put them back to the right number later, because if we put the wrong one on, you're gonna have this car and you're gonna walk
Get a
up to
little
it for the
orange,
next
yeah.
couple of years and go,
Yeah.
Yeah.